How do you create a village out of paper in a whole year of storytelling? Villageu was a Paper Mario inspired village that grew with a community, so the bigger the community got, the bigger and better the village got. I have always wanted to cultivate a growing community, but a community that I can see grow in front of me, not just numbers on a screen. I've always just fancied the idea of having such a big audience or community look and build something together that you can look back on and be like, that was pretty cool. In fact, I used to have something like that in Minecraft, where I would have like a community driven Minecraft world where we would all just go in and build stuff, and that was a lot of fun. So in 2023 I set out to do just that, but I wanted to build something unique, something that fit within the Red world and that could have audience interaction. And since I was in the progress of making my own Paper Mario inspired game called Paper Red and the Spirits Inc., I decided to make a village out of the Paper Mario art style that would grow when my audience grew with me on this particular channel. From January 6th of 2024 to January 6th of 2025, Villageu grew. Every week, every Sunday, I would post a new video of new growth, and it all depended based on views on the channel and subs on the channel. These things converted into what I called U points that would then be internal to the village, and if you, the audience, wanted to add something to the village, you would essentially have to hit a marker of how many U points there was, and then you could vote on what you would like added. For instance, every 10 subs got you a brand new vote on something you wanted to add. So let's say you wanted to add in a character's house, you wanted to add in a store, you wanted to add in a new area like a pond or a marketplace. You got to vote that week on what you would want to see, and then the next week I would build it and add it in. So you got to see Villageu grow, over time. But it wasn't just that. Occasionally brand new characters would also show up in the village and start living beside Red and the Mare, who were the two starting characters. In fact, occasionally there was a vote that you got to decide whether or not Red explored a forest or you added something new to the village, and if you explored the forest you would find a new villager. And this introduced really new and fun characters like Saber and Lux. And if you had your own copy of Dreams for the PS4 and PS5, you could actually go in and play Villageu each week. You can actually still do it. You can go in and play the last update, which is Red essentially leaving Villageu. It was so much fun adding in new characters and how they interacted with Red, because it turned out every character that you met was a previous resident of Villageu, but obviously Red being the new person there, some people weren't quite trusting right away. For instance, adding in Letty, she was quite aggressive to Red when they first showed up, and she didn't trust him and they got into an argument right away. It was just that sort of thing, that kind of interaction and character building that made it so much fun to add each week, because I would go in and do all the dialogue every single Sunday. So once a Sunday passed, I would edit all the dialogue so that it was new and fresh for the week after, and then players could go in, and I would also release videos of me going through all the dialogue choices and all the kind of interactions that you could do. But it wasn't until around August, so 8 months in, where I realised that the story had to kind of start to wrap up. Villageu was always supposed to be a 1-year project, and it was a fun year, but we needed to have a satisfying conclusion to the story. And it was difficult letting go of something that I was working on once a week, probably more than that, because I would have to build buildings and new assets and new characters almost sometimes daily. So saying goodbye and actually letting it go, it was difficult, but I think the nature of it, the fact that it was a weekly episodic thing, I think it was also starting to burn me out by the end. But that's not to say I didn't love it. And I love a lot of the characters that I built for it in paper form. You can even see, like, back there in the glass cabinet, the 3D characters are on the bottom, and up the top it's their paper versions. It was so cool, you know, building new characters that were completely brand new. They didn't have any backstories, no ties to the lore, so I could just have free range with how I wanted them to look, how I wanted them to act, how I wanted them to interact with Red. So saying goodbye to a lot of those characters was actually quite sad as well. However, there are a few characters that are present on Solaria during the animations that I am now making. So we don't need to say goodbye to all of them forever. And I think if I were to ever, or when I do eventually make my game in Unreal Engine, I would love to incorporate these characters in some way, shape or form. Just either as a nod, or heck, even one day making villageu its own game, because it's essentially a city builder. The only difference is it was a live city builder that you got to build, or you got to dictate how it was built, and then I would build it. Because to be honest, how villageu shaped out and ended was because of yourselves. Like, you voted on when we added in new things and what we added, and based on what you wanted, determined what characters were then added to the story. So you unknowingly, or maybe some of you did, most of you probably unknowingly, shaped an entire year's storytelling, just based on views and subs and the occasional like vote, because we did have, I would say there was roughly a new vote every 2 weeks. Sometimes it was week by week, but it never went more than 2 weeks without a vote. And you know, you really added like a lot of cool stuff. I would love to do another project very similar to villageu one day again, because it was fun growing something with you. It was fun to add people to the numbers. You know, you see your sub count go up or your views go up, and it's like, oh, we went from 50 to 54, and it's like, you know, it's went up 4 numbers, but the 4 numbers don't really mean anything, not real. But when I had villageu, getting 4 more subs was like, oh, 4 more people are helping build this thing, and that's what I loved. It was 100% community driven, and it connected me to more people that wanted to be a part of the actual community. Obviously on YouTube, some people just like to view and then go do their own thing. Other people like to get involved, and for a way for those people to get involved was just fun. The only thing I would change is it was weekly, and the bigger the village got, the harder it was to update every single week. At the start it was 2 people, so going in and adding in dialogue for 2 people, 5 minutes. By the end there was like 15 people, so going in and adding dialogue for all them, and then for Red to then talk to each individual person, it was just, it got too much. It took too long, which was because it was only ever supposed to be a really small thing. I get more invested in it than I should have. I'll be upfront about that. I cared a bit too much. It was always supposed to just be a little side thing that if people care they can watch, but no, anything to do with Red is never a side thing for me. I don't know why I thought I would not care about it, but there you go. So yeah, it probably wouldn't be a weekly thing. Maybe like a monthly sort of thing. Like you check in, we tally up the entire month of like views and subs, and then that goes into like a big expansion rather than just like a wee house here, a wee patch of grass there. You know, that could probably work better. Gives me time to work on it more as well. I'm not really sure how good it was for the channel, because the villageu episodes, they could fluctuate. Some would get like 15 views, others would get 100, and it was just like, you know, sometimes it was hard to determine whether or not people cared about it. And also, if nothing happened that week, Like, for instance, people just have slow weeks, and the channel was brand new. You know, it had like a pop off at the start, so the first couple of weeks was like, oh, new vote, new vote, new vote, something new's happening here. But then, you know, 3 months in, there might have been like a dry spell, and there's not really a big update for the week coming, so I had to like make dialogue or big story elements kind of pop and, you know, go crazy for that. It was, looking back, because it was an entire year of my life, like constantly, every week, doing something every week, you know. I definitely am thankful though, because it was tied so heavily to Red and Red's world, and people really started to like care and comment and like the characters and stuff like that. That was really cool. So to everyone who was involved with villageu over the past year in 2024, thank you so much. If you're new to the channel and this is the first time ever hearing about villageu, all the episodes are still there. You can go take a peek, have a look at how it was and kind of how it updated. If you go into my community tab as well, you'll see like over the past few months there was voting, like polls on what you wanted to be added into the village, and that, you know, won. But yeah, I just wanted to, I felt like I had to make a video kind of reflecting on it, because again, it was such a big part, and it took a lot of effort, it took a lot of time, but people really did like it, so I'm thankful for that. And there was a few people that were quite sad that it was ending and stuff like that, and I was sad, but the weekly thing, too much. If I ever do something like that again, I want to really build on what I learned from villageu, and try and make sure that people can be as incorporated as possible. Heck, even one day maybe, I don't know how you would make a game that updated live. You kind of have to be the only one that can control it. But maybe one day I'll revisit the whole concept, and we can try a new area, try a new thing. It might not even be like a big village. Maybe you're already in a town that's kind of up and coming, and you need to add in like shops, or maybe add in like a character creator where the person can create their own character, but Red is still there. I always want Red to be incorporated in it, because again, Edo Studios, this channel, is solely focused on Red, his animations, his stories, lore, stuff like that. So if I were to do something again for this channel, it would have to be, you know, with Red. But yeah, anyway, I won't ramble on too much. Thank you for watching, everyone. We've got new set crafts on Wednesday, heavily inspired by Born of Bread, another paper themed game. And then Friday, episode 2 of season 1 of the animations, Red and Legends of Solaria, is out, so come back then. But yeah, until then, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you. Bye.